It's your path to freedom this weekend, or at least a much-needed three-day getaway from work and the chores and the T-ball games. And while a lot of people are going to be taking a look at gas prices and the traffic and the long lines down at the Bay Bridge, we are going to be taking a look at things designed to keep you safe and from ending up in a ditch along the highway.
When you hit the highways this holiday weekend, you might not think twice about the guardrails that line your drive. But it's these same guardrails that will soon be under review by state highway and transportation officials, checking to see if these protective barriers could be putting you in harm's way. Guardrails you pass every day, now on the radar of national transportation officials. It all boils down to the end terminals and looking into whether they're performing the way they're designed to in crashes.
The 5-inch channel. The width.
Joshua Harmon worked for 20 years maintaining and repairing the rails. Over the past several years, he's noticed more deadly crashes involving end terminals.
People are dying at an alarming rate, and if something isn't done, there'll be more and more and more.
According to Harmon, the crashes are a result of a slight size change. He says the original 5-inch channel allows enough room for the guardrail to pigtail out as designed. But some of the new 4-inch designs allow no room to give and can impale cars.
They've got to feed down and go through this head. If they lower that exit gate to 1 inch, those splice bolts will never make it through it.
It's a change you can't see just by driving down the road.
This one here is deadly. This one here, I've seen it completely collapse. I've seen it impale vehicles.
But it's a change that Harmon calls deadly. A Scripps investigation led by WPTV in West Palm Beach found at least 8 lawsuits or Attorney General complaints against Dallas-based company Trinity Highway Products, claiming a small alteration to the device at the beginning of the guardrails, the end terminal or guardrail head, caused 4 deaths and 9 injuries.
Oh my God, 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 oh my God.
Now another lawsuit against the manufacturer.
I've lost my legs in a wreck. Where are you? Lost my legs in a wreck.
A guardrail lining a North Carolina highway tore through a man's car instead of ribboning out as it should. Scripps obtained records that show it's the same type of guardrail that's raised concerns. Earlier this year, the American Association of State Highway and Transportation Officials approved an in-service review of guardrail terminals. According to AASHTO, the roughly $600,000 study is one of 50 research projects scheduled for fiscal year 2014. It'll look at all end terminals in use, not singling out a specific company or design, but checking how they each function in real-world crashes.
When I started investigating it, started pulling tape measures, started actually looking at every one that worked, and then tried to compare them, it became very apparent the 5-inch was working and the 4-inch was not.
For Harmon, it's a step in the right direction. For the past 3 years, he's traveled across the country, talking to crash victims, their families, and spreading the word.
A lot of them think they were blessed to survive. Some of the victims that's lost a leg or mangled up, not realizing they should have went home with a crick in their neck.
Trinity Industries released a statement to our sister station, saying in part, the guardrails in question continue to be accepted by the Federal Highway Administration for use on U.S. highways, and they're confident in the safety and performance of their guardrails.
If I seen something, they've always, they've drilled it in our heads as installers. Speak up, make a difference. That's what I'm trying to do.
Tony Dorsey, the media relations manager with AASHTO, tells me the study will be taking place this summer. So far, they've identified a contractor and are now in the negotiation stages. They're still looking into how the study will be conducted, whether it's in a lab or out in the real world. Trinity's statement to our sister station goes on to say, quote, the false and misleading allegations being made by Mr. Harmon were reviewed by the Federal Highway Administration. The FHWA reaffirmed its acceptance of the ET Plus system in October 2012 and its eligibility for use on the National Highway system.
And on our In Focus website, digital reporter Sarah Bloomberg looks at the high bar, and the Maryland Highway Safety Office has set for itself how far it wants to drop the highway fatality rate between now and next year, and the biggest challenges it faces in reaching that goal. It's all waiting for you right now at abc2news.com/infocus.